What up, Raffalitos? Welcome back to my channel. We're back in Ogle. This is Sagrim Singh Road. She did a video about this 2 years ago. And in fact, this is the last street in Ogle that I visited. You want to see what happened in that video where I talked about the developments in this neck of the woods, new apartment complexes and so on. Go check out that video. But what I want to do today is to examine what has happened since the last time we looked at the bypass road that is being built in Ogle. So the Indian government...
Distance 5 miles. Duration 1 hour 14 minutes 26 seconds. Pace 19 minutes 54 seconds per mile. 752 kilocalories burned.
Like I said, the last time I was in this neck of the woods, I looked at those apartment complexes being built nearby. But now today I'm heading over to that new hotel that they're building, the AC Marriott, near to the Ogle Airport and the Ogle Bypass Road where they were building that maternity hospital. I just want to see what's happening since then. Remember, I came through that street in the last video. Oleander Gardens, I think is the name of that neighborhood, next door to Ogle over here. So this is Sagrim Singh Road. We visited Sagrim Singh Road in a previous video, and the last time we walked on Sagrim Singh Road we were looking at that apartment complex, but from the front. Some of you drew my attention to the distinction between condominiums and apartments. Yes, these here are apartments. These are apartment which are temporary rental units, as opposed to condominiums which you buy and you own. Guyana has recently passed a law that allows condominiums to be sold. Previously, like a couple of years ago, we didn't have a law that allowed you to own condominiums, but now we do. So this, we actually saw this building from the front. It was still being built, still being completed. It seems as if it's been completed now and seems to be occupied. So this is what I'm referring to in the last video here on Sagrim Singh Road. So we're going to head all the way down to the back of Ogle. It's about a mile from here, and I'm going to show you what has been happening to that set of developments. ExxonMobil is building their headquarters around there. I promised to go take a look at that. This is the condominium or apartment complex. The back end of it, right, we looked at the front end of it in the previous video. So a lot of these buildings are now being built to add units, rental units, housing units in Guyana, and that's in Oleander Gardens. But let's head down to Ogle and see what happens down there. So we're just at the beginning of Ogle. This is the Sagrim Singh Road, is the front, the first street. You know, on that side, for example, where I'm showing you, right, what's in the view of the camera, that's actually Oleander Gardens and industry. The front end near the highway is called Oleander Gardens, and the back end of it, back side of it, is industry. And on this side, that's Ogle. So we're going to walk down about a mile and then take a look at what's happening at the bypass. The bypass road is being built by the Indian government, or on a loan from the Indian government. Now, the last time I showed the traffic circle at Peters Hall. Remember that new traffic circle where they put a pool and all these, they put a Jaguar and all these fountains. That is the intersection at which the Ogle Bypass Road will meet the East Bank Bypass Road. And so you want to see what's happened to this east end. We're about 5 miles east of that intersection. I want to see what's happening here in Ogle. So stay tuned. The sign says that it's industry, right? Welcome to industry. And on the other side, that says Ogle. Welcome to Ogle. So we're gonna go down Sagrim Singh Road. Further down, like I said, we actually go about a mile down the road. About a mile down the road to see what's going on here. Alright, this is industry. I'm gonna do a detailed video of industry. It's an interesting neighborhood, both for political reasons and because of its strategic location here on the East Coast and what it means both for politics and development in Guyana. But for now, let's head down Sagrim Singh Road all the way to this new bypass. Morning. So Ogle was once synonymous with Gaisuco. Gaisuco had an estate, or at least a headquarters here in Ogle, right? Gaisuco, the Guyana Sugar Corporation, was headquartered in Ogle. So they ran the entire operations for the country from Ogle. And the reason why Ogle was important is because the crop sprayers, right, the airplanes, light aircraft that would spray pesticides on the sugarcane plantations, was located at Ogle. And so they had their aircraft maintenance and their aircraft division. Gaisuco's aircraft division was located here in Ogle. And so Ogle kind of was the place where Gaisuco's top brass lived. Right on that side, that's Ogle. And so it's not unusual to see large houses, particularly when you get down close to the sugar estate, because Gaisuco, which was first, I think, owned by Bookers, had some really nice housing for their top brass, their managers, their factory managers, and so on. They created these housing complexes, not unlike what Banks DIH did with their Thirst Park location. You've seen that in previous videos too. Okay, that's industry. Right, there's a number of companies in the history of Guyana's industries that built housing complexes, housing developments for their top staff, their managers. In the case of Gaisuco, their factory managers were housed on the sugar estates in compounds. So they had these houses that they built in a compound in which they put all the facilities. I should probably go back and visit some of these compounds, because I remember they had tennis courts, they had a clubhouse with a swimming pool and games inside a games room. You could play billiards and pool, and they had a pool hall and so on. That's what Gaisuco did. And so Ogle was in fact the top of Gaisuco's top brass, that is their CEO and so on, operated out of Ogle. And their facilities at Ogle were in fact the best in the country for Gaisuco. But like I said, it was similar to, for example, Rahaman Park, which I showed you in the previous video. It was similar to Demerara Park, right? Ogle's estates plant housing development was similar to those housing developments being built by various major corporations. And so that's what made Gaisuko famous, or made Ogle famous, because it was part of this factory town, sort of. You know, they're talking about building factory towns again in America. I think Elon Musk wants to build a factory town for Tesla workers. Has its drawbacks because eventually the factory jacks up the price of things, price of housing, price of food and commodities and stuff, and they get a chance to have a monopoly on the people who live in their factory towns. But I don't think that was the history of Gaisuko. This is another mansion. I think I've shown this on a previous video here in Ogle. But let's head down to the bypass road and see what's happening down there. But I'm just giving you the background to Ogle, why in fact it's one of the more developed actually areas in Guyana outside of Georgetown and the major towns, because Gaisuko had their headquarters in Ogle, and so it provided, you know, the kind of finances for development, particularly housing. Now Ogle is the place where they've put 2 new housing developments, and now it's also the center for a lot of new projects. The new housing developments are Pradoville 2, right? Pradoville 1 is over by Corridor Park. Over here in Ogle is Pradoville 2. We've actually did a walk around Pradoville 2. It's up the street from here at the end of this block, the end of this street. And what is this? This is a mosque, I believe. And Gaisuko provided the cachet that made Ogle, you know, kind of its place, a place where people wanted to live, because Gaisuko was headquartered here and they had their factory managers, their top brass living here, and they invested in the country, in the community of Ogle. Alright, that's a little bit of the history of Ogle. I'm going to switch to the site of development. That is the site of the construction of the AC Marriott and the Ogle Bypass Road in the next video. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe, and we'll continue this in the next video. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening here in Ogle, Guyana. Later!